Welcome back, everyone. The Sports Buds are here for another week of the NFL show. This is week 14. I am your host, Tony Reyes. Joining me, as always, is Chris Billings and Nick Kerr. How are you doing today, guys?
Doing all right. Getting ready to get packed up for this upcoming trip.
All right, that's good to hear. I'm happy to hear that you're making that trip. Before we go ahead and
Oh
discuss
yeah,
that
you're
trip,
going to Los
Yes, I
Angeles.
am. I leave tomorrow.
someone that's in
Exciting.
Los Angeles at a TV set right now. Tell us what's going on over there, Chris. Tell us what's going on over there.
I'm just in sunny Burbank, California, hanging out at the Price is Right. Figured I'd have better luck with Drew Carey than I've had with Drew Lock. So good times, yeah. So I'm done with my vacation, just hanging out at the Price is Right, trying to get lucky. Still done with the
Yeah.
NFL season.
All right. Well, getting back to the NFL season here before Nick makes his trip, let's go ahead and get his takeaways on that Dolphins-Niners game last week. What
Yes,
happened?
it was definitely a very disappointing result for me, but that was Tua's worst game of the year against the number one defense in the league. He still threw for 295, two touchdowns. First half, he was missing throws that he normally makes. I don't know if he was trying to compensate for that Nick Bosa rush, knowing that he had both tackles out. Maybe it put him a step earlier than he's usually used to throwing. But I think that with the Dolphins staying out there this week, because they play the Chargers, that McDaniel will have this team ready to go.
We'll agree with some of that. What were your takeaways on that game, Billings?
That Niners team is pretty good, and
Mm-hmm.
that like regardless of playing QB, as long as they can play the system, like this team just it works.
Yeah.
And then also like I think it was a little bit of a trap game for the Dolphins. I think they kind of were looking ahead towards the Chargers and looking past the Niners a little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a possibility. But I take this
The
that
defense
before,
definitely was.
yeah. I mean, they basically just gave the ball to Christian McCaffrey and he just ran all over the defense, whether it was in the back, just a throw out of the backfield or him running, because there was a fourth quarter play where it was still close, but the blocking scheme had Christian McCaffrey run for 40 yards.
Hmm.
I did say it
I'm
was going to be a comeback season
Yeah.
for Christian McCaffrey. Just said it was going to be with the Panthers and Baker Mayfield.
I don't know, man. I had some mixed takeaways. That was a really bad game by Tua. He looked like he was pressing. He looked like he was forcing things. I don't know if it was like the pressure was getting to him because he didn't have those tackles, like you were saying. And then, like on the other side of the ball, like the Dolphins, that was like the one of the worst defensive games I've seen by them all season. All they did was blitz that Purdy guy all game, and he just
Yeah.
consistently beat them.
I mean,
Um,
I'm pretty sure that they had a game plan for Garoppolo, and that
yeah,
got switched up pretty early after that first series.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, it's
Shanahan has
what
had success with quarterbacks
it's
in
wild
his
to
in his time.
yeah, it's wild to me because I thought you guys got Chubb to limit the blitzes
Hmm.
and do more run protection. And that wasn't really the
Yeah.
case. Like I was honestly surprised by that, how much they blitzed. I thought that the game plan was going to change somewhat with Chubb being
Yeah.
on board.
I agree. I think that game was a lot closer than the score indicated too. And I think if Tua just missed some throws, like I think he
Hmm.
makes those throws a lot of the time, and then the Waddle injury. I mean, there was a lot that went into it. But before we let's go ahead and tie into it because we're already talking about Shanahan and the scheme and the backup quarterbacks. Let's go
Yeah.
ahead and talk about this. I want to hear why Chris Billings over there thinks that the Niners are going to be okay and that everything's going to work out on the third string quarterback.
Like they looked decent with Purdy. And honestly, like if they would have somehow snagged up Baker, I think that would have been like great for his
Yeah.
career and for the Niners. Like I think that was kind of a Sean McVay fuck you to Kyle Shanahan. in the Rams picking up. But yeah, like I used to be a big Jimmy G guy on this show, and after watching that game, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I'm starting to think he was just a system QB.
Nick, what are your takeaways on this?
I mean, I've been saying Jimmy G's been a system QB since we've been doing this show. And I think that Purdy could just step right in there and run this system because he's got the weapons on the outside. He's got the weapons in the backfield. I think that they could. They got what, 5 games to figure it out, and possibly Jimmy G coming back for the playoffs.
I think so. I think that's about right. I think it's like 6, but yes. Yeah, I think it's 6. No, 5. I think you're right. 5.
That game, anything like that game was bad for Jimmy G, which his stock was like at an all-time high going into that game, which is crazy to think about. And then also Trey Lance, like also his stock just kind of plummeting at this point.
I hear what you're saying. I understand the system and all that, but I believe that there's going to be like a giant difference because I think Jimmy G is the baseline. He's like the lowest that you need to run that system. And I mean, we have the records here. He's never been successful with any other quarterback. The most successful record he's had is Trey Lance at 2-2. Like CJ Beathard 2-10, 5-11 under Nick Mullins, 0-6 under Brian Hoyer. So literally, he's never been good with any other quarterback besides Jimmy G.
I mean, in the San Francisco system, but he's also worked with the likes of Matt Ryan. He was with RG3, his rookie of the year.
Right.
So he has had success with other quarterbacks. It's just Brock been Purdy, since he's been in San Francisco.
And Brock Purdy's not a backup. He's not Cooper Rush. He's not Teddy Bridgewater. Brock Purdy's third string. What happened when the Dolphins ran that creative player out there, Connor, whatever his name was. I mean, we saw that, and that's a pretty similar offense.
And we saw him at the end of the last game, too.
WNBA MVP Skylar Thompson. Put respect on his name.
So, I mean, that's a third string quarterback. It definitely, it's the NFL. There's limitations. Like, he's not even a backup. That's why I'm like, this isn't going to work. You've seen Billings.
The way that offense is clicking, you can have Air Bud back there taking snaps.
I mean, I think that he maybe has a game or two, but they're not going to beat any good teams. Like the Seahawks are most likely going to win that division now, in my opinion. And I just don't think it's going to work. Like the margin of error is so thin for them. It's like, so now you're depending on McCaffrey, Debo, Kittle, all these guys to do even more. Like, what are the odds that one of those guys gets injured before the season is over? Like, it's probably pretty high now. They're going to have to do a lot more with the worst quarterback.
Maybe Christian McCaffrey, because his usage rate is definitely going to skyrocket here in the next few games. But I think that also is going to go into it as well. Teams are going to underestimate the Niners, and they're just going to come out and scheme them to death.
We'll see.
Well, they got the Bucks, Seahawks, Commanders coming up, so that is 3
playoff teams right there.
Yeah, so we're gonna see if Purdy can do anything because they're 8-4 right now, 5 games left.
I think they win 2 out of those 3 games.
It'd be pretty impressive. I don't think so. I'm out on Purdy. Like the limitations, I'm not buying a 7th round draft pick, 3rd stringer. Like it's over for the Niners, in my opinion. I'm out on that whole team. What else do we got? We'll take away. We got some AFC chaos staying with that, with the Bengals making noise now. Seems like they figured out how to play the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Chris, with your eye roll, please tell us your takeaways of that game. You told us the Chiefs are going to win by double digits.
Apparently, the Bengals have the blueprint.
Yeah.
That's just... I don't like... It just blows my mind how such a mediocre, in my estimation, a mediocre defense just screws up Patrick Mahomes so much.
Mediocre defense. They did a pretty good job on Kelsey. I think that this Nick guy was the first one to realize that if you take Kelsey away, that this Mahomes guy, he could be beat. He could be human, and
almost cost me a playoff spot in my fantasy league, because I have Mahomes on my fantasy team.
That
That
wasn't
223 he put up, but no one talks about that.
we'll talk about it. They definitely made Mahomes look human, and it was shocking to see. They figured out that you have to make the Chiefs run the ball, just dropping coverage, and the Chiefs do not want to do that. It really exposed the Chiefs, in my opinion, and I was like, yeah, literally just double cover Kelsey and make them run the ball, and they are not going to be as good as like they are. I was really impressed by the Bengals. Joe Burrow and that offense. They basically just kept Mahomes on the sideline.
Yeah. This team can now win that division with this Lamar Jackson injury.
Yes, I would
Because
agree
if the Ravens drop a few,
I'd say without the Lamar Jackson injury, they could win it. Like that Ravens team is something's up there. They're not good, even with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Chris was the first one on that. He never was buyer on that team. I thought the Roquan trade midseason would help, but something's not right. They're not good. They don't want to. Lamar Jackson doesn't have an agent. He takes everything personal because of the negotiations. I don't see it happening. He's probably playing for the Bucks or something next season. Like this Ravens thing, it seems like a divorce is happening.
Most likely, but like he's also like he's pretty much all they have for that team. Like he does everything for them.
Yeah.
And that's like we debated a little bit. That's why, honestly, looking back on it, I would have paid him.
Yeah. And maybe they get a new offensive coordinator. Greg Roman takes that job at Stanford, but I don't know. I don't know if that'll be enough. If I'm Lamar, I want out of there. I want to change.
There's so many other places that would take him in and pay him a Brinks truck of money. So no, I don't see him staying with the Ravens.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, let's move forward here to the NFC. My NFC takeaways. Oh my God, that Titans team. Why do I bet on this team? Why do I bet on this team? I'm always wrong on the Titans. That Eagles team comes out. Jalen Hurts diming him up.
Yep.
AJ Brown going nuclear. That was like the first game I was like, wow, Jalen Hurts has really improved from the pocket. He actually looks like a legitimate quarterback now.
AJ Brown got that GM fired in Tennessee as well.
Yeah, I was shocked. Like they're up 3 games in that division and you fire them midweek.
Because you see what you got rid of.
That's true.
Because that Titans team would be completely different with AJ Brown still on that side.
Yeah.
And like, we could have fucking used that rather than broken ass Julio Jones.
Yeah, that is true. Man, that Eagles team, they look pretty complete. That was a very impressive win. Just dominating that Titans team, holding Derrick Henry to like nothing, 40 yards rushing or something. And then my Cowboys team somehow just I don't even know what happened in that fourth quarter. I don't even think people watched that fourth quarter.
No, I was already in bed. They were up by whatever it was. It was close-ish.
21-19.
Yeah, exactly. And I wake up the next day, I see the Cowboys got 54. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yes, it was insane. They turned it on for like a quarter, and
disappointed nothing with the Schultz though. But
yeah, true. I don't know. It was crazy. I don't feel like they played like a good game, except for that Minnesota game. But once they like start turning on the pass rush, like holy shit, you're not supposed to be able to do that to teams in the league. You're not supposed to be able to score 30 points in a quarter on them. So that was ridiculously dominant. I don't know. But
Eagles and Cowboys, they both just have like some dogs in the trenches, and like that's what it takes to win late in the season. Also, Tony, look at me. I don't think you realize Cowboys winning in December. I'd say like you guys are going on a little bit of a run. There might actually be hope.
It looks like it. It looks like it. They're definitely putting those pieces together. We'll see how they do. What do we got here? Baker to the Rams. We talked about that. I mean, that just seems like a lease. Maybe they're going to try for next year. I don't know. I don't know if he like maybe he's just screwing over Shanahan, like you said.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know. What is this here, Billings? Talk to us about this NFL doing a lottery system to prevent tanking. Tell me why.
So there's rumors that with Caleb Williams coming out soon, and most likely teams are going to tank to try and get him. That the NFL, like, especially with their gambling partners now, they're going to go to a lottery system.
So
And
sort of mirror what the NBA does, where
it,
non-playoff teams.
yeah, and so like that's just those are the rumors that are out there. And it's more just because of the gambling nature and with Caleb Williams, and that you're going to have teams tank for him.
Yeah.
Like clearly, and like you haven't really seen tanking in the NFL until like the last like few years. It's started to creep up, and now it's
I'm pretty sure the Colts tanked for Andrew Luck.
Colts tanked for Andrew
Yes,
Luck,
they definitely
Jags
did.
tanked for Trevor Lawrence,
So,
Dolphins kind of tanked for Tua.
And went after Tom Brady, tried to
It's
lose
getting
and
more
win.
and more prominent, but like
Yeah.
it's like for Caleb Williams, you're most likely going to have multiple teams tanking for him. That's going to be bad, and that's going to be bad for an NFL that now has gambling partners. And so
That's true.
I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts that could potentially be where the NFL is trending. And like honestly, like I think it's a good idea.
I
I think
agree.
it would make the league more competitive, and you'd have more parity in the league.
Yeah, because you would get those games toward the end of the year where teams are just flat out tanking to try to get the first pick, where it would actually make those games a little more competitive.
I can see that. I don't know. My only pushback is I think teams bust, not players. Like I just think it's just like Andrew Luck. You can put as good of a prospect as you want. If he's in a shit situation, it's not gonna work.
But I think
So
when you're like a GM or an owner or president of a team, and then like also involving the coach, like you can move things in a way that like, yeah, like we're not going to give ourselves the best chance to win.
yeah, that is true. That is true. That would be
Or
interesting.
like
I wonder how they would
we're gonna liquidate like all the good players on our team.
Yeah.
Right. Oh man, I hope they do this before the Rams get a draft pick. That would be hilarious. All right. Let's move to these power rankings here. Pretty different power rankings. We got a shake up here in these power rankings. I got Nick's power rankings here. I'll let you go ahead and break them down, Nick. Let's go ahead and go 5-1 here.
5-1. I got my Dolphins dropping from 2 to 5. I got Bills at 4. Cowboys at 3. Chiefs dropping to 2. And Eagles up to the number 1 spot.
Pretty fair, pretty understandable. Similar teams in mine. What are your 5, Billings?
It's me. I have Cowboys at 5. I have the Niners at 4. Like I still think that they're a team that nobody wants to face in the NFC, like Cowboys included.
Yeah.
Bills at 3. They got people coming back from injuries. They're starting to click, even though Von Miller went down. But that offense, like they're doing what they do best right now. Chiefs at 2 and Eagles at 1.
What I noticed here, I dropped the Chiefs further than all of you guys. I'm starting off. I got Chiefs at 5. That loss to the Bengals was huge. I've seen the Bengals and the Bills beat them now. I no longer think they're the top team in the AFC. I just they seem pretty beatable. I'm not as fearful as them. I put the Bengals up into the top 5 over your Dolphins. It was a close one, but one of those two teams belongs up there. And then, like
I
you
would have
said,
had the
with
Bengals
the
at
Bills,
6. So I was right there with you.
Yeah, the Bengals have been looking a lot better of lately. Pretty complete team. Joe Burrow getting into that MVP race. Bills, yeah, the Von Miller injury hurts. That's going to be tough. But then I elevated the Cowboys to number 2 and then Eagles at number 1. Maybe some bias for the Cowboys, but been pretty damn good since Dak came back. Other than that trap game they lost in Green Bay that Chris Billings told me about. Pretty much been clear sailing since then, and was just dominant on teams, leading the league in scoring since he came back, just putting up 50 on the Colts, 49 on the Bears, 40 on the Vikings. I mean, seems like that offense is clicking. Don't have any update on the Odell Beckham situation. Doesn't seem like he's going to work out. I don't think he's going to play for anybody. It seems like he was kind of just like trying to get some attention to get paid here or
What?
something.
Odell Beckham trying to get attention to get his name in the press? That's slanderous, sir.
Hey, I mean, he can do what he can do, man. He kind of has that reputation.
He can
I
do
don't
what
know.
he's good at, and that's getting
maybe if you
attention.
maybe put a little
Yeah.
more effort into the actual rehab part, he may be back.
Yeah. I mean,
But I
he's
can't
all
say
of-
anything. I still got Byron Jones out that's been supposedly coming back since week 1. So
Yeah, maybe Byron will post a workout video. I know Odell is
I
on
don't know. I
social
think Byron's
media.
still afraid of going up against Tyreek in practice.
They're probably all hanging out with Randy Gregory as well.
Oh man, if only someone would told you that wasn't gonna work out.
Just like Cedric Wilson.
Yeah. Oh man.
Our $6 million punt returner.
Let's see how we did. Let's break down the result of last week. It was pretty mixed. We keep struggling here. It looks like one of us, some of us have to break 500.
We're struggling. These teams are struggling. Don't put this on us.
It is true. I think I read favorites with like 12-2-1 or something against the spread last weekend. It was crazy. Yeah. Nick and I tied 7-8. Chris was right behind us at 6-9.
Nope.
Nice.
Season totals. I keep dropping here. I'm at 101, 86-8 to 54%. Nick got knocked off of his 50%, 93, 94, and 8. Billings, 83, 104, and 8, 44%.
That means I go 7-6 this week just to get back to that 500 mark.
That's the goal. That's the goal. That's really what we should be doing now.
Half right.
That's right. Lower those expectations. That's where we belong. That's where we belong. All right. Pulling up the spreads here. I wrote it down. We are in agreement in 4 of these games. In these games that we're in agreement in. Seahawks, Panthers. Why? Seahawks 3.5 favorites on the road. I don't have anything to talk about in that game. I don't care. Seahawks.
I'm surprised the spread isn't much higher.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Something must. I don't know. That game's stupid. Chiefs, Broncos. I mean, do we really need to talk about that? Billings, like 9.5. I mean, Chiefs are going to go run that up on them. Yeah. They're mad. They're mad after that loss. We know that.
Score win 19-9.
We'll flex that game out just like NBC did.
We got Steelers, Ravens. Steelers favored by 3. We're all picking the Steelers. No Lamar Jackson for a couple of weeks. I think that's pretty evident. Not picking the backup. Kenny Pickett looking better every week. He did break my heart against the Falcons, so that's why I know. I watched him and I was like, God damn it, son of a gun.
But Najee Harris has not been the same this year.
Yeah, that is true. Did have a great stiff arm. Stiff arm.
You see that guy's head bounce off the ground?
Yes. So those are the poop games. We are all in agreement on the Dolphins too. Let's get into this. Dolphins, Chargers. Let's talk a little Justin Herbert for a couple minutes. Do you think he's getting a pass, Nick?
Getting a pass for what? Because he had injured wide receivers and he has an offensive coach that doesn't know what he's doing?
Pretty similar to Tua.
Yeah. It seems like the last 2 years for Tua. Tua definitely didn't get a pass, so why should Justin Herbert? Because he had healthy wide receivers his first 2 years and was able. I mean, he's had stud wide receivers and running backs his entire career. They get injured this year. He doesn't play the same. So is that offense a product of the receivers or the quarterback? Because since entering the league, Justin Herbert, 23 interceptions, which leads the league.
I think he's like
a lot of those come fourth quarter in clutch situations.
He also gets beat up behind that line, like either behind just a line that lets people go, or he just holds on to the ball too long, which happens a lot with him. But yeah, he's like, to me, he's looking more and more like he's gonna go the way of Andrew Luck, of just like he's gonna get beat up way too much behind the pocket, and eventually it's gonna have consequences. Like, I think honestly he's playing this season injured. That's part of his issue. that he's got something going on with his ribs. So yeah.
I would give that over to. I think he's a little bit more durable, but he's struggling, and deserves some of that criticism.
Tua just has a little more presence in the pocket. Like he knows when to get rid of it, when not to take the sack.
Well, he's had to learn that this year because
Yeah.
he was in a similar situation Justin Herbert's in this year, the last 2 years with an O-line.
Well, no, I'd say
Because
the problem with Tua this season is he's looking for that deep ball option, and we all know why he's looking for that deep ball option. And I think that's led to some of the injuries that he's had this year, or some of the sacks he's taken this year. Is
definitely the one against Cincinnati.
His eyes are locked downfield, and he just gets blasted. Whereas, like I've watched him previous seasons, like he's way more, like, honestly, like I'd say he was overly safe with the ball in previous seasons, where rather than holding on to it like he does now, like you just throw it away.
Yeah. Because there are reports coming out that that's basically what his offense was last year. That's what he was instructed to do. If you don't have the first read, throw the ball away. He wasn't able to improvise. He wasn't able to audible at the line. It was just one play. It's not there. You throw it away.
But even going back to Alabama, like Tua's just always like, dude doesn't turn the ball over.
This will be a big game for him. I'm interested. We're all picking Dolphins, 3-point favorites on the road.
And I will be traveling out there for the game.
Be
sure to look for me. I will have a sign 14 rows back.
There we go. I'd love to see it. All right, let's get into
it's probably going to honestly be a home game for you. I'll tell you that much.
I saw that Jalen Phillips has 91 people going to the game.
Wow.
Oh, Chargers. Nobody gives a shit about you in LA.
So true.
Hey, they're giving away Rams tickets on Christmas. I don't think anyone cares about any of those teams.
But who are they playing?
Yeah.
All right. Sticking with the Rams, we'll take back to the slate here. Thursday Night Football. Rams, Raiders. Rams 6-point underdogs at home. Both you guys taking the Raiders. That's too many points, man. The Raiders aren't good enough to beat a team by 6. Come on.
I don't know. I think the Raiders are going to work their way back to a 9-8 season. They're coming along late. Derek Carr seems to have found that rhythm with Adams now. They've been putting up some points. They've won a couple lucky games in overtime.
Yep. Josh Jacobs looking good. Looking like the best running back in the league somehow. I don't even know how that's real, but it is.
Yeah, and then the Rams, they just have nothing on offense. I don't see any way that they don't win this by at least 6.
No Baker action?
Oh, even with Baker, God, that team just has nothing going for them.
No.
So true.
Like I heard another commentator, sportscaster basically say that I've learned my lesson this season. Like anytime a team there's rumors about retirement around a team, fade that team. You had it around Sean McVay, you had it around Aaron Donald, you had it around Stafford. So should have just faded the fuck out of that team with all those retirement rumors.
All right. Speaking of fading teams, we got Billings Lions here that he's not allowed to pick, being a favorite 1.5 points against that 10-2 Vikings team. So Billings is picking the Vikings. Is this just because you can't pick the Lions, or you actually think the Vikings are going to win this game?
Both, actually. It's both. Can't pick the Lions, but also come on, 1.5 points. I know that the Lions have this amazing red zone offense now. Wish I had that. But that Vikings team is good. Kirk Cousins not playing in prime time. Then also am I missing something? I've heard the national media all week talking about the Vikings of are they a good team? And I don't know where the hype around the Vikings suddenly came from. You have clearly better teams in the NFC and the Cowboys, the Eagles.
I mean, it's basically because that paper they have on talent and their record. They're getting that, and they have the new young head coach. that you've been talking about all year. So I
Yeah.
think I'm still backing Dan Campbell because since you've been picking against the Lions, I've been trying to pick the Lions. So I think I'm gonna ride that wave with Dan Campbell. The winners of 4 of the last 5. I think they make it 5 out of 6.
Yeah,
Glad to
that
see
Vikings
honor
team.
amongst friends.
That Vikings team sucks. I'll say that shit right now. That they should have lost to the Jets. The Jets had like 5 possessions in the red zone and got field goals on every single one. Little white boy Braxton Berrios dropped a 4th down touchdown that would have won the game against them. Not a big believer in that Vikings team. They're gonna lose to the Lions. They're phony. They're phony. Get them out of here. We all said Steelers over Ravens. We got Browns and Bengals. Looks like Nick's on his lonely island picking the Bengals as 6-point favorites.
Yes.
Tell me why.
Like we talked about when they played the Chiefs, I think this Bengals team is starting to roll. And on the other side of that, Deshaun Watson did not look good at all.
True.
I don't see why they gave him all that money. I mean, they couldn't even get fans in the stands. I mean, obviously it was Houston where all the shit went on. But that team, that offense did not look good.
I agree.
And I think it's going to take a few more games of actual live action for this team to actually start to gel. Because
so you're
that was their
saying
chance
that
to get started on
selling your
offense.
soul didn't work out for them.
Oh, no.
Why do you disagree, Billings? Why are you backing the Browns and the points?
I think the Browns cover, Bengals win, but this is more like that Browns defense looked pretty good last week.
Yeah. But it was the Texans.
Yeah, that's
Was
true.
the Texans, but yeah, I think it's more just the Browns will keep the Browns D will keep it competitive.
I agree with
And that
Billings.
run game, they'll just fall back on their run game like they always do.
Yeah, I think it's a field goal game. I think it's ugly weather. I think Browns defense keeps it close. Field goal game. I still say Bengals win though. Just felt like too many points.
Yeah, fuck the Browns.
Yeah.
Speaking of too many points.
Yes.
Let's see. We got Jets at Bills. Bills 9.5-point favorites on the road. At home 9.5-point favorites. I am the only one picking the Bills. It's over, man. It's over for the Jets, dude. It's over. Like Mike White came in there, he couldn't score any touchdowns against this sorry ass Vikings team. Like dudes were open. I watched him. He missed it. He turns the ball over too much. I just think Bills Mafia starts on them. The noise gets on them. They're just gonna run it up. The Jets beat them last time. I think the Bills just got this game circled and they're gonna just run it up on them. Why you disagree, Nick?
I mean, the same points that you made last segment. It's just too many points. Chris has told me many times, division games got to be close. And I believe that the Jets, they've already beat the Bills. So they think they have some kind of strategy they can use. I believe they do keep it close and still end up losing this game. Because 9.5's way too much.
Billings?
Yeah, divisional game. That Jets defense is still good. It's going to be competitive. That 9.5 points is way too much, especially for how the Bills have been playing this season, playing down to their competition in some of these games. Market here, betting people. Two interceptions for Josh Allen in this game.
Yeah.
Wow. Bold.
He's leading the league.
That is true. I'm surprised it's not Herbert. All right. Let's talk about a lot of points here. Cowboys 17-point favorites at home against the Texans. Billings is on his lonely island picking the Texans.
That is too much. I just can't out of principle. That's too much. No.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I've seen the Dolphins score 30 on this team and a half, and based on what the Cowboys just did last week, they could put up 30 and a quarter. This Texans team is
way
not good.
the Texans lose by more than 17 points in the Hank Hill Bowl. It just can't happen.
How many points do you think the Texans score? The Cowboys are averaging 37. So.
I think they can get some garbage points.
Okay, maybe
And
that.
the 21.
Also, like Tony, you know this about your Cowboys. They're coming off an emotionally high game, Sunday Night Football, scoring a 50 burger. Like you kind of have to come back. Like there has to be a little bit of a regression to the mean here. So keep that in mind as well. Like I very well think that the Cowboys can win by 2 touchdowns. They most likely will. But yeah, 17 points. Holy shit, no.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. It's a lot, but
It feels like a push.
it could
Like
be.
I could definitely see this being a push.
It could
17-point push.
Someone in Vegas will get a raise if this game is a push.
be.
If they just nail this game at 17 points, their boss will walk into their office and be like, just kiss them and be like, you get another week vacation. Beautiful.
All right. Sticking in the NFC East, we got the Giants, 7-point underdogs at home against the Eagles after they tied in overtime against Washington last week. Billings is on his lonely island picking the Giants, 7 points. Tell me why.
It's a divisional matchup. Giants playing at home. That's more. I think that the Giants will keep it tight. Like they were probably embarrassed from that tie last week. Then Eagles, they're also on a bit of an emotional high as well. So I still think Philly wins, but keep it close, within a touchdown. Could very well see a push in this game.
Yeah,
Nick,
I agree with that. You could see a push in this game, but I think that the Eagles they take away Saquon Barkley, they make Daniel Jones beat him on the outside with his no-name receivers, and I think those DBs are just gonna be sitting back there waiting.
Yeah. Fuck, I can't pick against this Eagles team after what I watched last weekend. I think they're just gonna like roll that Giants team. They just look pretty damn complete on both sides of the ball. Fuck this team to hell. Tennessee Titans, 3.5-point favorites at home against the Jaguars. I can't deal with this Titans team, so I'm picking the Jags.
It's a spike
Give me
pick.
that spike pick. Give me the hook and the spike pick. You owe me money, Mike Vrabel. I didn't know your GM was like this. I didn't know your OC was getting DWIs. Like, so many problems going on over there in Tennessee. Give me the Jags and the hook. I've been trying to hype up the Jags for way too long now. Why am I crazy? Why am I wrong, Billings?
Titans is just the better team. The only thing that made me just kind of maybe go with the Jags on this one is that 0.5-point hook, like you said, but no. Titans better team. Jags are just doo-doo fire. They got a year to go.
Yeah.
You agree, Nick?
Yeah, I agree with that. Jags doo-doo fire. I think the Titans bounce back after that embarrassing loss of last week.
I like that. Doo-doo fire. We'll add that to the monikers here. Speaking of doo-doo fire, we all picked Chiefs 9.5 on the road against the Broncos. We all picked Seahawks 3.5 at home against the Panthers. Niners, Bucks. Niners, 4-point favorites on the road with this rookie quarterback. Billings back in the Niners and the 4 points. Tell me why.
Because Niners are playing at home. Like that defense is going to be all up in Brady's face and have him just irritated even more than he was last week. He's not going to come out and have a last-minute game-winning touchdown in this one.
Against you, so this guy's talking shit about Tom Brady here, huh? He's betting against Tom Brady here.
He's gonna go home and he's gonna get that L.
Nick,
I think the Niners still win this game. I am picking the Bucks with this 4-point spread. I think it's going to be closer than that. I think it's going to be a field goal game. With the way Tom Brady came back last week, there's no denying his ability even at age 65.
Y'all got Stockholm syndrome.
I do.
Dude, I read a stat. There have been 6 undrafted quarterbacks making their first start against Tom Brady. 0-6. Good luck, Brock Purdy. Good luck. Tom Brady and that team. They look. I I don't know. They just put it together. Like they're gonna win that game by like a field goal, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, damn, the Bucks are good, looking good now."
I mean, if there was between quarterback battle, if there was ever a David and Goliath, I mean, Mr. Irrelevant versus Tom Brady. Like,
Yep.
you can't make this shit up.
Air Bud, pass it off to Christian McCaffrey.
All right, like we said. Oh, Mr. Doo-Doo Fire over there. Like we said, we are all back in the Dolphins 3-point favorites on the road against the Chargers. Brings us to this Monday Night Football game of the Cardinals, 1.5-point underdogs at home against the Patriots. And we got Nick over there backing Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Tell me why.
Because this is a shit game. They've given us they need to be able to flex Monday night games because the schedule they have given us this year has been complete doo-doo fire.
Yes, co-sign that. Doo-doo fire.
And once again, I just these Monday night games, you two pick someone. I just always try to pick the other person. It just happens that I'm going against the Patriots this week.
Just happens.
It's pretty convenient.
Just coincidence.
What do you got, Billy? Why are you back at the Patriots?
That Cardinals team's disarray. Been saying it all season. What are the Cardinals' identity? Their identity is that they suck.
Very, very succinct there. Can't really disagree with that analysis. This is a doo-doo fire game. I'm making a prediction. Cliff Kingsbury gets fired after this game. Cliff Kingsbury gets fired. They blow it. They blow this game. They're winning the game and they blow it. And the Patriots, something's been off with them for the past couple of weeks, making special teams mistakes. They're better coached. They're going to go to Arizona. They're going to beat the Cardinals. Cardinals are going to blow this game. Kingsbury gets fired. Picking the Patriots.
I honestly don't even know if Kyler Murray's going to be on this team next season.
Yeah.
Dang, that's even bolder than me. Just bold it on up.
I hate to see it, but I think either Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray could be a member of the Jets next year.
Wow.
I would really hate to see it.
Wow. Bold talk there. Man, I can't even handle your guys' takes. We got anything? Okay, we got 6 teams on bye, guys. It's a bye-pocalypse. Saints, Commanders, Colts, Falcons, Packers, and Bears. So short list of games this week.
Honestly, thank God.
Fair.
The Commanders is the best team out of the whole bunch.
Oh, yeah, no shit.
Sadly. Oh, man.
It's like a sinister 6 of bye teams. Like,
anything you guys want to plug before we get out of here, Billings? What do you got to plug?
Nothing plug. I'm gonna go find the Plinko board.
Nick, anything to plug?
Chris, I'll be out there tomorrow. Look for me on Sunday Night Football.
That's right.
Yeah.
Credentialed member of Miami Media. Go, Nick. I hope you get a W. I hope you get to watch that Dolphins team beat the Chargers. That's all for us. Thank you for watching the Week 14 NFL show. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend.